Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tinnitist TV. Today, I am talking to Ariel Posen. Over the past few years, he's earned a reputation as a world-class guitarist. And you don't have to take that from me. John Mayer called Posen one of his favorite players. Tom Jones and Butch Walker have both hired him. Rolling Stone dubbed him a modern-day guitar hero. And Eric Clapton's Crossroads Guitar Festival recently invited him to perform alongside the likes of Buddy Guy, Joe Bonamassa, Carlos Santana, and others. Unfortunately, the Winnipeg-raised musician doesn't get quite the same degree of attention and praise for his songwriting, but his third album, Reasons Why, might change that. Thanks to the pandemic, Posen had more time than ever to devote to songwriting, and he made the most of it, turning in the sharpest and strongest work of his career so far. With Reasons Why already out in the world, Posen zoomed in from Montreal to chat about songwriting, fame, being the boss, what's in the water in Winnipeg, and more. Enjoy. So how
How's
are
it
you
going?
today? I'm good. I'm good, Mr. Posen. How are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Very
Where are
good.
you today?
I'm in Montreal.
Greetings from Winnipeg.
Hey,
Hey,
see you
hey.
soon.
Yes, yes. Do you look forward to playing here nowadays, or is it kind of more nerve-wracking than enjoyable?
It's not nerve-wracking. It's for the first time. I mean, in a place you grow up, and especially as a musician where you've cut your teeth there, you play upwards from 5 to 7 times a week.
Sure.
To only come and play once or twice a year gives a lot more purpose to the idea of playing at home. So it's a lot more special now, for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine. Hey, congratulations on the new album. It's been out now for 10 days or so.
Thank you.
Um, how do you feel about it now that it's kind of, you've gone through all the excitement and it's out there and there's no taking it back and people
Right.
haven't, stormed your house with pitchforks and torches or anything. So, is it just kind of okay, relief and it's over and I can move on with my life or what?
It's a mixture of feelings. You put so much work into something, and the lead up is, a couple of
Yeah.
years from, well, even longer than that, from start to finish, of creating it to the waiting to planning a release and all this stuff. So once it's out, it's this it's relieving, and it's also bittersweet because um it's just out there now. And yes, I'm so pumped that people get to listen to it now, and people are
Sure.
enjoying it. Um, and I'm the most proud of this album, but there's also like this deflating part of putting out something where it's hard to just I don't know, see what's next, because you put all your eggs into this one thing, and now it's just out. So I'm in that in between phase,
The
but
empty nest.
I'm very pleased for it to be out.
You've got empty nest syndrome, is what you're saying.
Maybe, actually, that's exactly what it might be.
So you mentioned being most proud of this album. Can you elaborate a little on that for me? Why this one?
Well, it's my third record, and as as you put more stuff out, and as you do anything in life, if you do more of it and enough of it, you just have more experience, and hopefully you improve and evolve. So I feel like with this record, I've evolved. I feel like the songwriting is its best yet. And those are like the most important things. I mean, the production and the parts and the playing, that's all fun and good and important, but like in terms of the actual songs and where I'm at as an artist, I think I'm most content with at the moment. So I feel like it's a great representation of that.
Right, right. I mean, I know obviously on the first two studio albums, you weren't, putting out songs you didn't like or anything, but at that
No,
stage, it's still kind of a learning curve, right? I mean, are you now at a place where you're sort of feeling a little more confident and in control of being able to, take the sounds in your head and reproduce them the way you hear them?
I felt like that already on my second record, and
Okay.
I'm still always learning, and I'm still like, we haven't figured anything out. Like, if you're willing to be open to evolving and learning and trying new stuff, then you're always on this growing path, so to speak. But my first record, I've made hundreds of records for other people and played guitar on other records, produced, but it was my first time doing my own record, and I definitely felt lost. Like, I didn't know exactly what I should be doing and how. And by the time the second one came about, I had to like get that first experience out of the way of like,
Right.
what am I doing? How do I do this? So it was a lot easier and yeah, like you were saying, uh, I don't even know if confident is a word, just more content with my choices and content with the whole experience, knowing how to navigate through it, knowing how to deal with everyone, knowing how to just get the best performance out of myself. And it really came from just listening to my original idea for the songs, like on demos, not feeling forced to cater to what I think someone else wants to hear or make it sound a certain way, but just target my original vision, which is the most important, while being open to adjusting it if need be to get it better.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that too is kind of a function of the third album. I was talking to another artist just the other day and they just put out their third record. And it's like you were saying, for your first one, you have years to write these songs. And then for the second one, sometimes you have months, or maybe there's stuff that didn't fit on the first one and it's kind of done under a pressure, in the pressure cooker. With the third one, you're kind of in the point, I think, where, like you say, you've got the experience, you've got the confidence, maybe you're back to the drawing board in terms of having a blank slate. And it's time to sort of figure out, okay, what exactly do I want to do here, and how do I want to sound, and who do I want to be as an artist?
Totally. Funny enough, my first one, I feel like I was on the clock because I feel like stuff started to move quickly for me with touring and just myself as an artist at the time, where I was like, okay, I just need an album. I need this album to be out. And I only had 7 songs. So I just recorded 7 songs. And I almost had more time once that was done, because I could just focus more on carving out time for writing and putting together more songs than needed
Mm-hmm.
for a record, so that I could choose between them and like potentially hopefully pick the best songs out of them, and just having more to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Is writing coming easier and faster for you these days, or is it just a case of you're able to and have to carve out more time to do it?
No, it's just a matter of carving when I'm carving out time to do it, because in some ways, like I write with other people and collaborate with people for their own projects
Right.
all the time. That's a lot easier, because the pressure of like, am I going to be singing this the rest of my life? Is this my song? You don't have to worry about that. So
Sure.
you're kind of writing from an outsider perspective. But when I write for myself, it almost has to be seasonally, because when I'm working on a record or leading up to the release of a record, I am just so mentally, my bandwidth is just, there's none of it, because between planning a tour,
Right.
planning the year, doing this, doing videos, releasing this, doing that, it's just too much. And not until it's done, typically, do I kind of unlock writing season again. I have a lot of friends that can do both at the same time and
Right.
be on tour for this past record while already writing for the next one, and getting ideas. Sometimes like ideas come and I will jot them down, but I work best for my own writing when I can just be in a routine where I'm in one place at the same time, and can just write. And it's like the matter of consistency. The more you do it, the easier it gets,
Sure.
as opposed to stepping away for weeks or months and then coming back to it, trying to like find lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. But you bring up another point that I wanted to ask you about, which is, you spent a lot of years uh, being a guitar player, working with other people, and not having all of this other stuff to take up your bandwidth. I mean, at that point, was did you always have the goal of wanting to, be up front singing your own stuff and being the guy whose name is on the marquee, or was that something that just kind of, gradually you grew into after a while? And how, how are you then, how is the reality of it sort of differing from the imagination? Because it is a very different thing to now be living this in this kind of, making all the decisions world.
Yeah, it was never my intention. I want to get all those questions in one answer.
Sorry,
Funny enough,
anyway.
I got my start by doing what I'm doing now. I had
Yeah.
my own band that I fronted and sang. We just played locally. We'd play a couple times a week, playing covers and some original music, but it was nothing ever serious. If anything, it was a gateway for people to hear us and to hire us individually for other gigs and just to make some cash.
Yeah.
But I always really enjoyed it, and I learned a lot doing that, and I definitely cut my teeth a little bit as a front person and as a singer doing that. But then it was like almost right away, it was like 13, 14 years of sideman, being a hired gun, touring for other people, recording for other people. And I loved it. I never had um, this thought at the back of my head going, oh man, what if you just did your own thing, man? I never had that. I was super happy,
Hmm.
backing people up. And I'd have a lot of people ask me all the time, like, are you ever going to do your own thing? And I'd kind of always brush it off because it just never seemed like something that would happen in reality. And then once it did start happening, which it just started happening very naturally, I kind of treaded carefully in the sense of like, I didn't go in with expectations. I didn't go in thinking, I was still taking other gigs with people, but I found like there was this scratch that was, or this itch that was getting scratched, so to speak, where I never cared about being a front person or, like you said, having the name on a marquee or anything like that. It's never about that. It's the idea of getting to 100% play, sing, and write like myself, like as authentic as possible as me, as an artist, to play that full time is what I do, became this this feeling that could not be beat by playing other stuff. And that being said, I've still done the odd sideman thing in the last couple of years too, when it made sense with my schedule, because I still love being a musician and playing guitar with other people,
Right.
whether it be live or in the studio. But like that, just the satisfaction of writing my own music and performing it was just so gratifying. It was so lovely, and I don't know. Like now that I've been doing it and I'm stuck in it, I wondered how it took me so long to start doing it. But at the same time, I don't think I was ready, and I needed all those years of playing with a million other people just to kind of know the ropes and see how it goes. And
Right.
your last question you asked was,
The
has it
reality versus the yeah.
yeah, has it exceeded I mean, it has all exceeded my expectations. I always envisioned at the most, playing a couple shows here or there with my own band, maybe locally, would be awesome. But like getting to tour the world and like do all the great stuff that we've been so fortunate to do so far, it's exceeded it all. And I try not to go in with expectations, like I was saying. Still, I don't. I'm not like a goal oriented. Oh, we need to play Madison Square Garden this year, or in 5 years.
Right.
It's more like, how can I keep doing what I'm doing the way that we're doing it, but make it better, make it bigger
Right.
by doing the same thing, not specific to a place or an actual event.
Right. But part and parcel with that too, and part of the way you achieve those musical goals is wrapped up with having to do all the publicity stuff like this, and kind of base fame in a little, in a small way, right? You have to be out there. You have to do all these things. How are you feeling about that now that, maybe, I mean, you're still on a fairly smallish level. You don't even have your own Wikipedia page yet. But, I'm sure you go places and there are people who recognize you and you make videos. And how is all that sitting with you, that whole fame aspect of it?
I mean, we live in an age now where everyone's accessible now and everyone is addicted to their phones. So the height of exposure, I think it's never been easier to get exposure to with other people. And I've for the following I've put together, I'm grateful to the people that follow along, and it definitely just didn't happen overnight. It came from years of putting work in a consistent way to try to target certain people to come along for the journey, so to speak. And I'm just grateful for everyone that's into it. So I mean, yeah, if someone recognizes me, that's super lovely and great. But that just comes with it. None of that actually matters. All I want to do is, perform well, write good music, and all the other stuff is just, it is what it is. It's fine.
Well, yeah, for sure so far. And I mean,
And we'll try to get a Wikipedia for you. Don't worry.
get
We'll
on
try.
that. Yeah, for sure. So, talking about playing, I see you're heading to the Crossroads Festival with your old friends, the Landreths.
Well, we're playing separately, but yes, they are playing too, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me as quite a lovely coincidence that you'll both be there at the same time on the same day. I can't imagine you wouldn't end up on stage together at some point.
I think we're playing different days actually, but
Are you? Oh, okay.
the fact that we're both there, we're all there on for an event that, I mean, I won't speak for them, but I've been watching those DVDs and
Sure.
those concerts since they started. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. Again,
That's a
I'm
pinch me
like
moment,
talking about expectations. I'm just kind of going in. We'll just take it in. I'm not really going in with expectations. Who knows? It'll
Uh-huh.
be fun.
Uh-huh.
We'll just
Yeah,
have
well,
fun.
it's definitely a pinch me moment. Have you had some other kind of pinch me moments lately that you'd like to share?
Um, funny enough, my biggest pinch me moments are my own. Like, honestly, since COVID, I've not that I was really taking music or what I do for granted before, but I was a little bit. I think we all were. We didn't
Sure.
realize that everything could just go away like that. So I've started to like come out of that time embracing and enjoying every opportunity, like, to the max. Like I started the year off with a couple solo shows that were sold out in Oslo, and I'd never been in Norway before. That's much more of a pinch me, yeah,
Moment.
moment,
Yeah.
because it's something that I've worked quite hard at. Um, and it's not that I'm looking for recognition, but for it to be rewarded in a way, like that's more of a pinch me moment than, like, you know playing the Ryman with Tom Jones a few months ago, or playing with Victor Wooten a couple months ago, or John Mayer hiring me to be in his commercial for his guitar. All that stuff is amazing, and like, I'm grateful for interactions and collaborations, but the work and the footprint that I have put down for my own, yeah, for my own footprint, really, that's the stuff that really is a pinch me moment, when it shows that there's um, people responding to it and reacting.
Yeah. Well, well said. Well said. Talking about Europe, I mean, I always get the sense that for guys like you, um, they seem to appreciate musicianship and musical quality in a different way from North Americans. Do you get that sense too when you're performing for them?
I get that asked all the time too, and I don't know if that's true, because I've had different experiences even in the same cities or
Hmm.
countries. they definitely appreciate North American acts because we go there a lot less frequently, you know, maybe once a year, as opposed to, oh, they're back in the States or they're back in Canada. um, you know, Germans show appreciation a little differently than how the Irish show appreciation, and English people show appreciation differently than um, Dutch people or Danish people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everywhere's a little different. In my experience, they've always been super warm and incredibly gracious with showing their appreciation, which is a huge reason we keep going back. But I've also seen that in the States and in Canada. It just, again, it's always a little different, but there's music lovers out there for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. Going back to songwriting, so you have nothing left in the can for the next album?
Oh, of course, there's stuff in the can.
Okay.
I this last record I wrote 30 songs,
Okay.
and 10 of them made it on the album. And that doesn't mean that those songs aren't good. It just they
Mhm.
didn't
They
fit
don't-
the picture that I was visualizing with the
Right.
10 that I was really
But I
feeling
mean,
good
are those
about.
songs going to survive? I mean, given that I'm guessing, you won't be thinking about another album uh for another, maybe year, 18 months in terms of, release dates. By that point, are you going to have hopefully, 10 more, 15 more songs that you're in love with and these orphans kind of get left behind, or are you good at recycling stuff?
Oh, I'm all about recycling if it makes the cut.
Hmm.
You're working on a new project, you definitely, you know, we change as people and as artists as time goes. Like, I'm in a different mindset than I
Sure.
was 6 months ago, even a week ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So creative, uh, speaking in terms of like you're creative, it really changes just like that. So, you know, sometimes, and this is another reason why when you work on a project and you wait on it for too long, you might not feel the same way about it when it comes out as when you were working on it, because you've
Exactly.
changed as a person too. So there's something to be said about holding on to recyclables, as you said. Um, but the focus is always on writing newer songs in the current time frame that you're in. But I love some of the songs that didn't make it. And we may or may not have already started recording some of them. I can't say for sure, but
Uh-huh.
there was no love lost from some of those songs. It was just a matter of not quite fitting in the collection that I was putting
Right.
together for the Reasons Why record.
Do you find yourself now that you're writing? I mean, you're not just writing as a guitar player anymore now. You're writing more, obviously, as a singer, as a trying to fashion a whole piece of work together, as opposed to, sitting down and trying to come up with a good lick or a good riff or a good progression. Do you find yourself when you're writing sometimes almost reining in the guitar aspects of what you're doing for the song as a whole?
Yeah, I started doing that right from the beginning. With my
Mhm.
first record, I didn't want to make guitar music. I was known as a guitar player,
Right.
but I was also known as this guy that plays in bands, sings,
Sure.
performs songs, you know? And I've always liked songs. From the beginning, I haven't tried writing guitar music at all. It's
Mhm.
always come from like a song first. But, you know, the guitar is the thing that I use musically to express myself outside of singing the most. So by default, I mean, it's the focus instrument. It doesn't mean that it's like it. All those guitar things come after in production. When the song is being written,
Right.
um, I'm not thinking ever about like, oh, we better throw a plate reverb on this thing and reverse it and do this and blah blah blah. Like, it, that to me is not part of the songwriting. That's part of the production element. Um, I've I've always, I think it just comes from the music I like too. It's always been song based,
Right.
Beatles and stuff like that. It's not focused on any instrument specifically. It's about a story, melody, lyrics. I did a couple side projects where I just played solo guitar,
Right.
and that is most definitely guitar music.
Sure.
And that was just more, so also more an exercise in improvisation and stuff like that. That I would consider guitar music for sure. And you know what? Nothing against people that write guitar music or any
Yeah.
specific instrument. I think I could have easily tapped more into guitar music and made it even more guitar centric, my
Yeah.
music, but it's just not, it never felt natural, and it's never what I was into, like in terms of putting my own music out.
Right. Do you play every day?
Try to,
Yeah.
but there's times where I just don't for a couple days and I step away from it. I think that those kind of days are just as important, if not more important, than the days you do play.
Yeah.
You
Fair
know,
enough.
we just got back from 2.5 weeks out in Europe and the States, and sometimes it's nice to just take a couple days off of it, you know?
Uh-huh, for sure, for sure. Talking about being from Winnipeg, it seems like it's been a great couple of years for Winnipeg music. I mean, you and the Landreths and William Prince, Begonia, Boy Golden. It just seems there's this real wave of people, making noise out there. It's great to hear.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's like, what's in the water in Winnipeg? Is it the cold? Is it? Oh yeah, because everyone stays in. Maybe it's true.
I don't know,
Winnipeg's got
I
some
just,
magic. Or,
yeah,
but I also think it just has some really driven people
yeah,
who care a lot about the art they make, who have stayed true to like really honing in on their craft and like cut their teeth. You know, nothing for any of the people you listed has been handed to any of them. It has all come from extremely hardworking people.
very much so.
You
But I
know,
think you guys all
especially
help each other in the sense that, somebody hears the Landress and they get turned on to you, and then they, hear William Prince and they go looking for somebody else. You know what I mean? It just kind of, you're like dominoes in a chain, and one falls and it just helps everybody hear about everybody else.
right. I guess that's what community to a degree is for, and just having.
Hmm.
I don't know if that happens more or less because it's a smaller city and there's not really any industry there,
Mm.
as much as some people would like to think there is. You know,
Uh-huh.
does that allow? I don't know what it allows or doesn't allow,
Yeah.
but it's great. I'm so pumped and proud to be from a city where, our footprint is small, but musically we're seems like we're making some impact for sure.
Yeah, definitely punching above
Without
our.
without saying that Neil Young went to high school there.
Well, yeah, you can list all of the Randy Bachman used to live down the street from me, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on behalf of your parents, I have to ask, when are you going to make a klezmer album?
I don't know that that's going to happen, but you never say never. I'm never against any kind of musical project, but it's not really. I can't say it's on the books right now.
All right, sir. Well, listen, I'll let you go. I've taken up enough of your time today. Thanks for talking to me, and thanks for the album. And it'll be nice to see you back home when you're here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I guess we're 11 days away, so I
All
hope to
right.
see you there.
Go and knock Eric Clapton socks off in Los Angeles.
All right, we'll
All
try.
right. All right. Bye.
Take care.